We are born into a schedule. By 25, we seek stability. By 30, success. By 40, we expect to have arrived. Most of our energy is spent looking sideways, clocking our milestones against the peers running next to us. Missing these deadlines produces a specific, heavy exhaustion. It is the hollow anxiety of tallying up your own progress against a crowd that seems to be moving faster. Our standard reflex is panic. We force ourselves to work later, to degrees we don't want, or pivot careers, expending massive energy simply to remain part of the pack. The psychiatrist Carl Jung viewed this exhaustion as a necessary signal to turn back to oneself. To him, this fatigue indicates that the external world has finally failed to provide the meaning you require. The collective map imposes a rigid, linear timeline on the psyche. It assumes every individual should hit the same targets, degree, house, promotion, at the exact same time. Lacking an internal compass makes us dependent on the crowd to know if we are safe. Forcing yourself to follow a schedule that does not match your nature is a dangerous form of psychological self-betrayal. Suffering through comparison stems from treating a completely unique, unrepeatable life as if it were a standardized test. This alienation begins with our natural desire for acceptance. We learn early on that living by the external gaze, adjusting our emotions and choices to please the group, ensures our survival within the community. This habit forces us to hand over the authority to define our self-worth. When a single unfriendly look can make you doubt your entire path, your inner center no longer resides within you. In the workplace, we trade inner truth for collective approval. We adopt the persona, a social mask designed to help us adapt, and eventually mistake this role for our true identity. Jung countered this with the concept of individuation. He argued that every human carries a highly specific, totally unrepeatable rhythm of maturation that is independent of social standards. Because this rhythm is unique, looking at someone else and concluding, "I am slower," is a logical error. You are declaring your own natural process invalid simply because it does not resemble a neighbor's. Attempting to solve the feeling of being lost by pressing the accelerator creates a paradox. We burn our energy on speed while ignoring the fact that our compass is broken. Comparison acts as a mechanism of alienation. It separates us from our individual path and places us on a timeline where we can never truly arrive. Opting out of the collective map requires a deliberate period of intentional solitude. Removing external noise allows the mind to settle, turning it into a perfectly flat, clear mirror where your own voice can finally be heard. During his exile from Apple in the 1980s, Steve Jobs entered a phase of profound withdrawal, moving away from industry noise to travel and meditate. This solitary period allowed him to restructure his inner center, leading to the clear design intuition that defined his later career. Withdrawing from the noise also allows you to confront your projections. Most of the harsh judgments we feel from the world are actually unacknowledged inner fears that we have attributed to others. This is how the shadow operates. When we refuse to allow ourselves to make mistakes, we project that extreme strictness onto our peers, believing they are judging us as harshly as we judge ourselves. Reclaiming these projections is a gradual process of taking ownership of your own self-doubt. As you stop demanding that the world carry your unresolved inner conflicts, the people around you stop appearing as threatening judges. Sustaining this path requires shifting your drive away from the extroverted ego and toward inner necessity. Inner necessity is the willingness to do the quiet, unglamorous daily work that aligns with your core. You act not because you want to be seen, but because your inner life demands a specific expression. The myth of Achilles illustrates the cost of abandoning this inner drive. Achilles was invincible so long as he followed his personal destiny, but he stepped outside that protection to chase a collective image of fame and fell at his only vulnerable point. Working from inner necessity is like growing roots rather than focusing on a canopy. These roots determine whether the tree can withstand a storm, even if they remain invisible to the rest of the forest. Once anchored in these deep roots, your self-worth becomes immovable. It no longer fluctuates based on whether you receive external praise or total silence. Reaching a state where you no longer need the world to bear witness to your value is a landmark in psychological maturation. You exist and have worth simply because you are in alignment with yourself. When you focus entirely on your own rhythm, the societal race dissolves. You stop running, not because you have won, but because you realize you were never meant to be on the track at all.